Welcome back to the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Menti. Recently, there's been a crackdown on distracted drivers in Delaware. Is it having an effect? We'll ask Jana R, who is Director of Office of Highway Safety in Delaware. Thank you so much for being here. So I ask you the question, is it working?
Absolutely. We've had a law in place since 2011. We're one of 46 states across the country that ban texting and one of 14 states across the country that require hands-free cell phone use. And yes, we have seen an impact on the number of folks who are driving on Delaware roadways that are using hands-free technology now.
So let's go back before the law came into place. What were the statistics at that time? What were the problems on the roads?
I don't have statistics, and the reason is because we really didn't start capturing the information until 2011 regarding the number of crashes that were occurring as a result of cell phone use.
I told you right before we started the interview that I started working here right about that time, and I said at the time, I've never seen so many people on their cell phones. They're more in Delaware than most other places I've seen, but now that's exactly why you have this law. Explain what the law is for those who don't understand it.
Sure. The law requires hands-free technology if you intend to make a phone call, and requires you to, there is no texting, so there's a complete texting ban, and if you want to make a phone call, you have to have hands-free technology like Bluetooth or a headset of some sort in order to make a call. First violation is $100 plus court costs, and then second violation or second and subsequent violations are $200 and $300.
And have they been stopping a lot of people for this?
Yes, approximately 12,000 or so in 2016 tickets were issued for folks that were using their cell phones inappropriately.
What I don't get about the law, and I think it's an important thing, I understand why you have it, but what I don't get about the law is how it's enforceable.
Most of the violations that officers are stopping folks for are when they're still holding the phone to their head. It's obviously difficult in order to determine that someone is actually texting, because they could be dialing the number, they could be, and then you can dial the number and put your phone down. You can hold the phone to enable your Bluetooth technology, etc., and then put the phone down. So there's, it is difficult to determine when someone is texting or not, but the obvious violations are those when folks are holding the phone in their hand, and that is a violation of the Delaware law.
But I would imagine it comes down to the police officer's word. I mean, if they go to court, that's what it comes down to. Is that right? Or do most people just pay the fine because they know they've been caught?
Larry, I'm not sure the difference between the two, quite honestly. I don't know whether most people that are ticketed are actually paying the fine or whether they're actually going to court and law enforcement has to be there to testify as to what they saw. I don't know the difference between the two.
Does more have to be done? I mean, do you feel like you have this problem under control now?
Well, let me tell you a little bit about what the Office of Highway Safety does and what we're doing. We're part of a national effort. April actually is Distracted Driving Month nationwide. The process started for us in 2017 in March, and what we held was a 2-week mobilization, which is an opportunity for us to provide overtime for law enforcement agencies and run in tangent with that enforcement opportunity extra public information and education. So a mobilization is both education and enforcement. We ran our first mobilization for 2017 in March. It was a 2-week mobilization. We're doing the same thing in April and again in May. It's just an opportunity for us to provide overtime funds for law enforcement to enhance the work that they're already doing in terms of traffic safety. And then, as I said, there's a public information and education component that goes with it as well. Again, encouraging through a social norming message, encouraging folks to put their phones down when they're driving.
Yeah, it seems like more and more there is no reason to be on your phone. Now all the cars are being hooked up so you can do everything on your dashboard. But then again, that's another distraction. I mean, every time a technology comes along, you're going to have a new distraction, are you not?
Well, that's a really good point. But hopefully the vehicle enhancements and the technology that vehicles and our car manufacturers are putting in the vehicles are aimed at trying to keep the driver's eyes on the road and less necessarily on the technology, making it easier, if you will, to do the task at hand and be a safe driver.
And part of this has to be education.
Yes, absolutely. The educational component that I mentioned includes a little bit of paid media in terms of radio advertisement, and then some more traditional or non-traditional, if you will, social media. We do newsfeed ads as well as promoted posts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then finally, we're doing digital ads. Again, these ads, though, are targeted at the folks that we know generally necessarily are violators.
Who are they? Are they teenagers?
They're not, actually.
Really?
To be honest with you, yeah. The ages are generally tend to be just a hair older, between 20 and 24. Generally males, about 60% males, 40% females. That's what we're finding in our crash statistics. In that age, I said 20 to 24, and even just a little bit older into the early 30s as well. This doesn't necessarily trend for a younger age group. This trends for an older age group. Older in that they're not teens, 20, 24, and again up into early 30s.
And I would think the most important ads you could have are the ones on the highway, to remind people as they're driving that you should be putting your phone down.
Absolutely. That's why we invest so much in radio. Folks are still listening to the radio in their car. You know, when they're outside of their car, it's a different environment. But when they're in their car, they are listening to the radio. So we're targeting media opportunities that target the younger, if you will, population, not so much the 50-year-olds, but the younger ones. Those are the ones that we found that are still using technology in a way that puts them and other drivers in danger when they're on the roads.
Well, congratulations. It's so important what you're doing, and it's great that Delaware's in the forefront in some of this stuff.
Thank you.
Jana Simpler, Director of the Office of Highway Safety. When we come back, you may have heard that people in the federal government said that Meals on Wheels is not productive. We'll hear from Meals on Wheels about that very comment when we come right back.